Hi, I'm Dr. George Yancey. I want to introduce you to our Sociology and Scripture series. It's a playlist I'm developing because I believe truth is truth. I think there's truth in the social sciences. The ultimate truth is in the scriptures. And I want to try to find a way we can use the social sciences, social theory, to learn more deeply about the scripture. I know I'm not a theologian, so there's certain types of depths I can't get to because I've not studied that. But I still believe that we could apply what we know in the social sciences in ways to give us additional insight into the scripture. I'm in a unique position to do this, being a Christian who's serious about his faith, being a scholar who's serious about his scholarship. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope that this series can be insightful to you and help you in your faith. Hi, I'm Dr. George Yancey. Let's share some paradigms. The paradigm I share today concerns equating anger with murder. It's part of my series on scripture and sociology. I'm enjoying this series. I hope you are too if you've seen some of my other videos on this topic. Allows me to take sociological knowledge, what we learn in sociology, and pair it with the ultimate truth. Today I want to talk about Matthew's 5:21 and 22. I think it's a passage that sometimes seems like it's over the top, but here's where I think understanding certain sociological ideas is valuable. It puts it all in perspective. So, what does it say? Let's read it. You've heard that it was said to the people long ago, you shall not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who's angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says the brother or sister raka is answerable to the courts. Anyone who says you fool will be in danger of the fires of hell. Boy, kind of intense, isn't it? Now, I will admit, part of me says, really? Are you equating murder with name calling? That seems like it's over the top, doesn't it? Let's be honest, it does. What is Jesus getting at with this? And here I want to go to the theory of symbolic interactionism. You know, it's not one of those theories that a lot of people hear about, although you may hear people kind of draw off of it in some of their comments. Symbolic interactionism works something like this. As we grow up, we learn certain symbols and what they mean. And then we take those symbols and we use them to interpret society. Now, what symbolic interaction does, and what's used a lot of times is to show that the same thing can mean something totally different depending on our interpretation. So, as I interpret, one of the examples I like to give in my class is eye contact. That growing up, I learned that eye contact meant challenge, whereas many other individuals learned that avoiding eye contact was a lack of respect. So when I was growing up, I learned that when I was talking to an elder or someone over me, I lower my head. Others, especially in mostly white cultures, learn that when you talk to someone with respect, look them in the eye. Our interpretation creates reality. Reality is, if that person interprets my looking down as a lack of respect, that's what it becomes, even though I didn't intend it that way. That's how they interpret their reality. Now, here's where this becomes important in understanding what Jesus just said. Our interpretations start from understanding symbols, but go into how we feel about something. So you interpret something as hateful, it becomes hateful. Hate becomes a precursor to a traditional sense of murder. I'm not talking about, a hired assassin, but usually hate is a precursor to violence. When we try to think of hate, it becomes violence in its own essence. Now, I'm not one of these people saying words are violence, okay? Don't hear me. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about actual violence. And the way we get there is through hate. We create symbols in which we're going to hate of this other person. And then we will be likely to engage in that, if not actual physical violence, in other ways of doing them harm, of doing them damage. This is the sort of hate that Jesus is trying to cut off. Make sure we don't engage in it. Make sure we don't engage in this sort of murder. Excuse it. We use certain symbols to justify our hatred. They are black, they're white, they're Hispanic. I don't like them. Or they come from a certain area of the country. I don't like that. Or they come from a certain political party. I don't like that. I can justify that hatred. It's okay. It's only hate inside of me. But it has a way of spilling out, often in violence, but in other ways in which we dehumanize others. Look, if you enjoy this sort of discussion, matching sociology with the scripture, by all means, give this video a like. Consider subscribing to this channel, to this playlist, if you will. Give me a comment. These are the things that help to this channel to flourish, and like I said, I really am enjoying this type of discussion, and I hope you are too. If you are, I just ask for a little bit of support. It doesn't cost you any money, it's a little bit of support. Okay, how we think about things, how we symbolize them. We symbolize them as it's okay to hate. That will shape our social attitudes. That will shape how we see things. Jesus is aware of this. This is one of the reasons why I like doing this series, because I think that truth is truth. There is sociological truth in symbolic interactionism. It has its weaknesses, but there's truth, and Jesus is attaching on that truth. We neglect to understand the power of how we think. What do you think? It's just our thoughts. Okay, it's just our thoughts. I'm just going to think this nasty thing, and then I'm going to go on in my life. That nasty thing stays with you. You symbolize this thing is okay to be hateful of. Or in other types of sins, it's okay to be lustful of this. It's okay to put in ideas that it's allowed to cheat the system. This is bad. We're allowed to do that. Jesus is cautioning us to please not do this. Our thought life needs to be put in order. We need to think about what triggers certain symbols and how we react to those symbols. And are we reacting in a way that is godly? Or are we reacting in a way that leads us down a dark path? And in the end, Jesus says his path is hell. And I'm not even talking about hell after life. I'm talking about hell in this life that we create because we started in our thought life towards hate or lust or cheating. And we ended living out that life in its various forms. Symbolic interactionism is a way of thinking about how this can happen, how our symbols become reality, how our thought life becomes reality. Symbolic interactionism reminds us that we begin humanizing people in here and how we interpret them. If we take the theory of symbolic interactionism seriously, and I think we should take this symbolic interactionism seriously, we should learn how to change our symbols so that one of dehumanizing to humanizing. The people, you may have seen my video on Samaritans, on how we dehumanize Samaritans. And Samaritans don't mean anything to us. Samaritan for us may be the person who's transgendered, or the person who has a MAGA hat. That may be our Samaritan. And we take that symbol that it's okay to dehumanize these people. Instead of saying, let's change that symbol to, I may not understand these people, but they are a child of God too. What if we change that symbol to anyone, no matter who they are, how distasteful they are, how much we may think of them as our enemy in the natural, in the flesh, that they are image bearers. How would that symbol change our lives, change our society, change our reality. So yeah, symbolic interactionism, used correctly, definitely can help us perceive things differently, change our walk, change how we are to treat others. Well, thanks for coming by, and I hope you come back. We can shatter some more paradigms.